Today we're going to do unit 4-3. In 4-3, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write 317 in expanded form. So if we have the number 317 and we want to write that in expanded form, what we're going to do is write what the place value this 3 is, which is in the hundreds. So we would write it 300 plus, then we would write our tens digit, which is in the tens place, and we would write 10 plus, and then we would write our 7, which is in the ones digit, and we would write it 7. So in expanded form, it would look like this: 300 plus 10 plus 7. Now if I wanted to do 608, I would write it as 600 plus 8, because we have 6 in the 100 spot, we have 0 in the 10, so we don't have to write that since it's 0, and then we have 8 in the ones, so we would write it as 600 plus 8. Another way we could write it is 6 times 100 with our grouping symbols plus 8 times 1 with our grouping symbols. That is another way that you could write 600 plus 8. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to write different decimals in different ways. So our math message for today, it says, complete the math message on journal page 118. Then talk with a partner about what you noticed. Be ready to share what you and your partner discuss. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to shade on our grid that represents 0.3. Okay, so if I shaded 0.3 on my grid, I would shade it 3 full rectangles, or longs, because our 3 is in the tenths spot. So here is 0.3 shaded on our thousandths grid. Okay, then it says add shading to the grid in another color so that the grid shows 0.31. Well, we have our 0.3 already, so if I pull out another color, I could shade 1 full rectangle, because one square represents the hundredth spot. So right now we have 0.31 shaded on our grid. The last part says, then use the third color to add shading so that the grid shows 0.312. So if I add a third color, I would shade in 2 rectangles, because the 2 represents thousandths. And we know from previous lessons that the thousandths are 2 rectangles. So I would take this here and I would shade in 2 rectangles. So right now my grid shows 0.312. For our next part of our lesson, we are going to write decimals in different ways. We've kind of done it with our other math pages, but here's what this would look like. All right, so for example, one of our problems says example is 0.568. By the way, this is on page 118. Okay, so we're on page 118 doing this. All right,